Angel was well aware of who lived in this large, cedar-shingled home on the island of Jamestown in Rhode Island. In fact, he knew everything there was to know about this man, in this life, and in his past. You see, this guy didn't inherit his money, he earned it, $100,000 or more at a time by taking out high-value targets like Dr. Silverman. His assignments often came from government agencies because some were political hits. He knew that. Oftentimes he would recognize his victims from the media. Some others, like Dr. Silverman, he knew nothing at all about, other than someone important wanted him taken out. And of course, there could be no loose ends. If there were, it would most likely mean the end of his career, if not his life. That's why he was in demand, because up to now, he had not made any mistakes. This man, Arson, already knew he was a psychopath even before they came to tell him that. 7 years ago, he received a knock on his door by the men in black, who said they wanted to talk to him about the results of his genetic screening. You have the MAWA-L genetic marker, and that makes you special, Mr. Jacobs. That's what the men with the badges and the dark suits told him on the day he let the two agents into his home. Sir, you took one of the genetic ancestry tests several years ago, is that correct? The agent asked as he unfolded the report and handed him a copy. The results of your testing, which by the way was forwarded to the FBI and other agencies, show you were born with certain, how should I say it, personality traits that make you ideally suited for work at our organization. Only certain people have this marker, and the agency considers it a valuable asset. If you're willing to come in and be trained, we can guarantee you a very, very lucrative career with us. Also, we have a copy of your high school IQ tests. Although you probably weren't told this at the time, you scored in the highest percentile. As a result of this meeting, and within just 18 months, they had turned Arson into a sharpshooter, and then taught him how to become a heartless jackal. He had found his true calling. Ooh. Angel had not come here to judge him. He understood how the SnapDragon Code worked. Whatever happened to him or anyone else was inevitable, unavoidable, inescapable, or as some techie might say, hardwired into the program, with no escape options. You could no more stop the butterfly's motion than you could a boulder's fall. Even Angel's interventions in the present were already part of the program existing on the boundary. The only thing anyone could control were their own thoughts after the fact. Angel wondered what Arson's reactions would be when this was all over, and so, he went to Arson's door to introduce himself and explain why he was there. How did you get past the gate? I'm calling the police right now.
There's no need to do that, Arson, because right now you're the only one who can see me.
Angel says as he walks right through the front door without opening it. Arson quickly pulls his handgun from the holster he wore most of the time. Even with the 8-foot gate that surrounded his property, and the security cameras that automatically ring an alarm if movement is detected, he still carried a gun. How did you just do that? Arson hollers while steadying his right hand with his left and tracking Angel around the room with his weapon.
I'm an indimbi, an interdimensional being, so I can adjust my wavelength to pass through what you consider solid objects. I'm very mobile, you understand. People here on this planet sometimes call us angels. You used to be one also, but you lost your privileges when you took part in the revolt. You just don't remember.
Angel explains while watching the last rays of sunlight move up the walls of the foyer's grand staircase. You're crazy. I have a crazy person in my house, and I will shoot to kill if you don't leave now. Arson screams as he motions for Angel to exit the front door by pointing his gun in that direction.
I cannot be killed, and you'll find, if you pull the trigger, that the gun will not fire. Go ahead, shoot. Isn't that what you do for work, Arson?
Angel says while watching his reaction and then adding,
I do not blame you, you understand, for the killings, I mean. Some could blame it on an alteration in your DNA from an errant transcription process. However, I know that you are not responsible for who you are or what you do. Nonetheless, you must learn from it and you must repent. I don't mean that in a religious way, but it will be necessary for you to feel remorse before you leave this planet. Otherwise, you will not pass your final evaluations and may have to repeat a life cycle. In other words, your feedback is what's being monitored.
Angel says, troubled by the fate of a man who had not been loved or ever loved anyone. Leave. Arson yells, and then he pulls the trigger, aiming straight at Angel. No shot, just a click, as he then sees Angel levitate about a foot off the floor and spin like a top. The background of the room begins to change, from top to bottom. with colored pixels falling into place and filling the room with different furniture and windows and characteristics. "What's happening?" Arson yells while trying his gun one more time to no avail.
Arson, I think you know where you are. You're at the scene of one of your last homicides, are you not? To refresh your memory, let's watch the murder you committed in Dr. Silverman's office, only this time from Dr. Silverman's point of view, shall we?
Immediately, Arson senses a strong arm, bent at the elbow, clasped tightly around his own neck. Out of the corner of his eye, he can see that the wrist of that arm is actually wearing his watch. As he tries pulling away, he can feel the other arm reinforcing the vice-like grip and instantly snapping his windpipe. He cannot breathe, but he's still conscious. He feels the fingers of the hand, adjacent to his watch, force his mouth open and push something down into his throat. Then he sees the sky moving away, and the side of the building moving past him as he falls from the 40th floor, landing hard on the building's metal canopied entrance. Just as quickly, Arson finds himself back inside the doctor's office, shaken but alive.
I realize your genetic disability prevents you from sympathizing with another person's tragedy. However, I thought I would at least try to give you someone else's perspective.
Angel says, now feeling pity for Arson. "This is some kind of freakish trick. I don't know who you are or how you pulled this whole thing off, but I want out, now!" Arson yells as he starts to move towards the door to leave. Once again, the pixels around the room begin to descend and fill in, until the room appears as it was when they were in Arson's home. At this point, Arson could no longer stand upright and drops to his knees in the middle of the living room floor. He feels that he is about to vomit, and so he crawls to the edge of his Persian rug and retches. "What do you want from me anyway? Are you here to take me to hell or something? Because at this point in my life I don't care," Arson blurts out while sobbing into his hands.
I'm not here to judge you. I told you, your actions, good or bad, are inevitable. And you can no more change what you've done or what you will do than I can change the past. However, soon you will decide to turn yourself in and implicate Rothman in Silverman's death. You will find that doing so is unavoidable. Fate will take your hand.
Angel explains, and with that Angel was gone, leaving Arson with an experience he could not tell anyone about, at least for now.